Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the NIFT Homecoming series. Today, we at NIFT Patna have the privilege of hosting designers whose illustrious journeys have redefined luxury fashion in India. Nitin Bal Chauhan and Stuti Sood Chauhan. Before we move further, I would like to take a moment to express our gratitude to our esteemed Director General, Srimati Tanu Kashyap, IES, for her vision through which this initiative has taken form and has led to an environment that connects students with accomplished alumni. Nitin Bal Chauhan is more than just a label. It's a force of innovation in the Indian fashion scene. Their designs are a captivating blend of bold Western aesthetics and artistic Indo-Western fusions, catering to a global audience with a thirst for something truly unique. Debuting at Lakme Fashion Week in 2007 with a win for Debut of the Year, Nitin Bal Chauhan hasn't looked back. Their creations have graced not only Indian runways, but prestigious international platforms like the London Fashion Week. Walking step by step with Nitin, building the brand alongside him, Stuti Sood Chauhan graduated from NIFT Delhi in 2007 from the leather design department. Stuti joined NBC 16 years ago as an accessory designer and heads the entire sales and marketing team today. The Nitin Bal Chauhan label isn't just about luxury experiences. Their expertise extends to collaborations with renowned mass-market brands like Walt Disney, Anthropologie, Monsoon, and Westside, showcasing their incredible versatility and ability to connect with diverse audiences. Please join me in welcoming yet again the incredible designer couple themselves, Nitin Bal Chauhan and Stuti Sood Chauhan. May I now request our respected director, sir, Colonel Rahul Sharma, to join me on stage. I now request Nitin Bal Chauhan to join our director on stage and director, sir, to felicitate him. I request Nitin to take his seat on the stage itself. May I now request Stuti to grace us with her presence on stage and director sir to felicitate her. I request Stuti ma'am to please take her seat on the stage. We are incredibly fortunate to have Nitin and Stuti here today. They'll be sharing their journey, design philosophies, and insights into the ever-evolving fashion world. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hello Nitin, hello Stuti, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to have both of you with us. Let's just delve into the world of fashion.
Yeah.
We're really excited to know about your journey. We'd like to know more in detail about your trials, your tribulations, your challenges, and how have you navigated yourself to be in this position of ever-growing success. So we can start with Nitin.
Hello, yes, a very warm good morning to everybody here in Patna. And thanks everybody coming here and getting us together. We're going to talk our experiences about how we spent last 20-25 years of our life. So I always used to say, when we were in NIFT and we were like in our first semester, so we would be like, oh, I am right now 6 months old in design. And then slowly we were 1 year old in design, and then 3 years old in design. So when we graduated, basically I was 3 years old in design.
Right.
Earlier, yes, most of us were like painting in school, winning competitions for them, and that's how we started or figured out that yes, we have something creative to say.
True.
And then finally, when NIFT happened, we started getting sensitized towards the field of art and design, and was very fortunate to have studied at NIFT. And I think the turning point for us was we would just, when we saw the first graduating show of our seniors, and I think after that, there was only one thing that happened to us. We were living in this building, which was a planet for us, Planet NIFT. Nothing mattered in the world to us. All that mattered was what happened inside and how that center in NIFT was opening our eyes towards what all had transpired in the field of art and design and fashion across the world, you know. So
Absolutely.
it just like really helped to set a great platform. And by the end, when the final collection came and I graduated, I remember my faculties telling me that, Nitin, you worked really hard. You know, we used to have night labs and I used to sleep. Most of us used to sleep under the table or over the table in those 6 months and get up in the morning, have our toothbrushes with us.
True.
And it was a whole fervor, you know, nothing mattered to us. All that mattered to me was, मैं इस मशीन में बैठ के स्टिच कर रहा हूँ, 3 बज रहे हैं सुबह के, ये विश्वजीत भी अभी भी सिल रहा है, shit, मैं भी सिल रहा हूँ. That's all mattered, because you know who your competition is in the class, whom you are competing with, who falls into your kind of zone in terms of design. If you are working on a collection inspired by textile, then you're looking at other people in the class who are also working on textile, because they are all pitted for the best textile, use of textile award.
True.
Then somebody is working on a creative collection. So you would identify, and then you would just like, the competition began there.
True.
And it was amazing. And then when I graduated, I won the best design collection. Before winning that, my faculties told me, Nitin, don't sit for an interview. तुम NIFT graduate होने वाले हो, job तुमको जिंदगी में कभी भी कहीं भी मिल जाएगा, and you'll get what you want. I suggest, yes, I mean, you know, this is, I'm talking in 2002, and you know, some of the people over here, your faculties are from the same institute, graduated at the similar time.
Right.
So they told me, just go and travel for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Just take a break. Last 3 years, your attendance used to be like, what, 90, 95% attendance? Yeah. And they said, just like, go travel and then look, figure out what you want to do. You'll get the answers. We believe in what we've taught you, and you got to believe in your education and yourself. I did just that. I didn't sit for any interview. I traveled, ended up in Chamba, Leh, Ladakh, and Chamba. I was from where I was from, and I saw our crafts in a different light. Now that I knew what art and craft and culture was, I was sensitized towards it.
Correct.
And then I started my NGO. From there, I got a scholarship from Milan for my graduating collection. I won a competition. I left that.
Fantastic.
I just thought, I'm working with 10 different crafts right now. I'd already done, you know, we do craft documentation as a part of our curriculum.
Right.
And I did that. I realized here I will document 10 crafts, help revive it, work with the government. So that's how my journey began from there. And it's been a trial and error, and we'll talk through the journey, what happened after this, as this continues.
Great, Nitin. But we'd like to hear from Stuti also.
Okay, so for me, I graduated in 2007, and first job was in export house, which I don't mean to discourage you all, but it was very boring for me. Because I just gotten done with my design collection and the creative juices were just flowing, and then I got placed with an export house where I'm just kind of translating specs. So I quit my first job within 5 months, and that's when I met Nitin, and I visited the studio, and there was this space of, it was like a creative melting point, you know, where there's fashion, there's music, there's photography, and so many creative fields coming together. It was just a very inspiring space to be in. And that's when I decided that I wanted to join the label. So I joined the label in 2007 as an accessory designer. And yeah, it's been 16 years.
Great,
and
great, great.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Stuti, that sounds like a fantastic journey both of you have had. So Nitin, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So the designs are often considered innovative and extremely unique. What do you think sparks the creative process behind it?
I think what all I consume in terms of what I read, either it is novels or I read history or I am crazy about graphic novels, the kind of cinema I watch, the kind of music I listen to and the research I do behind where it's coming from, why does this song matter, why does this artist who's singing it matter, the stories behind these things, and also things that in daily life you see which just like, disturb you or like do something more to you. I think those are the things where inspiration generally comes from. And over the years, like we've worked on very sensitive topics, like we've expressed our collections on Guantanamo Bay, the political prisoners of US. We worked on the Abu Ghraib prisoners of war.
Yes.
We worked a whole collection based on immigration crisis in Syria, insurgency happening in India. The Jallianwala Bagh was a whole two-part collection that we designed. We also designed collections on mental health from dementia to Alzheimer. So when we are picking up such topics, they are like somewhere triggering something inside of us that we want to express. And obviously this is the, like I always tell students that when I design, my inspiration starts in a two process. I look for a tangible inspiration and an intangible inspiration. An intangible inspiration comes from reading books, where a mood comes to you, like you might read a novel about poetry, about romance, or you might read something about war or any other issue. So once you have that sort of intangible inspiration with you, then I look for tangible inspirations that will help me express that. That's how to translate it, because a lot of times I find students like they have a crazy inspiration. They might have read a whole book inspired by a certain collection, but when it comes to translating it, because they haven't really gone deeper into finding intangible sources of inspiration that will help them express that particular thing in the first place. So I always try to really create those elaborate boards about my intangible inspiration, and once that comes together, it's easier for me to speak in a language of fashion.
Valuable piece of advice for our students, how to connect tangible with the intangible. And I totally agree that inspiration strikes us from all various spheres.
Totally.
So, Nitin, if you could wear one NBC outfit for the rest of your life, you can't change. So, which one it would be and why?
Well, I don't know, Sneha. I think it's going to be awfully boring if I just wear just one outfit. Because I think our journey has been about not getting put in a box. I want to keep reinventing myself and my look. I know Karl Lagerfeld had this one particular look,
yes,
and now they are like dolls and things made around it. But you need to understand that the world will always try to put you in a box. And now that even more content is being created, it's very difficult to remember somebody. So that somebody has to dress up in a one particular way. Whereas I've always found this absurd and limiting. So what is more important, especially being in fashion, what is more important, I think, is to how you reinvent yourself every decade, how your look or your style just keeps evolving and changing. That's something which I always look forward to. And right now it is this look with these mustaches and these glasses. Maybe they might stay for some more time. But,
and we have seen you in a different avatar earlier in longer hair. I think you used to don longer
very
hair.
true. And I always love expressing myself like that. Yes.
So no one outfit, you will love to keep exploring and evolving.
Absolutely, like, that's how you be relevant, because if somebody needs to buy something of NBC in 2040, and if I'm still around, I also want to be dressed in what's going on in 1940, in 2040, so that people say, okay, yeah, I think I want to like to wear his clothes because his dressing is quite relevant to now, so I have to connect to my...
Wonderful.
Yes.
Going on with the conversation, Stuti, we'd like to know from you, what's your unique approach that you bring to the NBC as a brand, and what do you bring on the table to this collaboration that you have between you and Nitin?
So, like I said, that my journey with the label started as an accessory designer.
Right.
And, like the first collection that I designed got an amazing response. The whole collection was sold out. It was bought by a Japanese designer. Similarly, the second collection also got an amazing response. And being with the studio for 2-3 years, I realized what an amazing place and unique place it was to be. And I felt that creatively, yes, we were oozing with energy and there was a lot happening, but all that story, I was not being able to reach to my end customer. So the unique approach that I took was that this creative mad story needs to be told to my end customer by me.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, because like at that time his journey in fashion had already started. He was already retailing at the leading stores in India, and most stores were very keen to work with us because he won the best debut. His design and his style was very unique at that time. That time, I had just graduated in 2007. One would see just designers, mostly designers designing Indian wear, and good, edgy Western wear was completely missing from the market. It didn't exist. I think Nitin is a pioneer in that segment. So, this whole story had to be told to people, because if my approach would have been, okay, I send my products to the store, which is the conventional way that most designers were following at that time, it wasn't getting me the desired result. Like, there was a mismatch I felt in terms of the product and the response that it was getting, because the product was way ahead of its time. It was not ethnic, it was not safe, it was totally bold, experimental, out there, and good fashion. So I had, ahead of its time. So I had to go and educate my consumer myself.
Right.
So I started, looking at alternative ways of selling my product, which was organizing pop-ups and more B2C concentrated events where I get a chance to meet my tribe myself and tell the story behind each product myself, so that they can really connect to the label. Rather than just the product, they can connect to the philosophy, and that's the approach I felt was a good one for us.
That's what has really helped us create that following over the years, because they know where we are coming from, because she's been able to talk about a design process to a client one by one, on one-to-one. And that's how they know that, okay, they do this because they've been doing this and the reason why we do it.
Great hearing both of you. It's very clear that both of you have a very, very clear concept of who brings what to the table, and as a team, then what you take forward to your clients.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
That sounds like a wonderful creative partnership. Now, speaking of collaborations, how do you individually come together and create synergy in your work? Because it is evident that you have different energies that come together and form this place called NBC.
So I feel that both of us are very, very free-spirited individuals and very expressive.
Right.
And hate to be tied down by anything. So,
Fantastic.
yeah. And we love our freedom, and we give each other that freedom in our own spaces. Our roles are very clearly defined. We bounce off ideas a lot, yes, because he's the best person that I can bounce off ideas with, and vice versa. But when it comes to taking decisions and taking lead in our own spheres, we give each other complete creative freedom to be our own. So I think that.
Another thing that we realized was that you know, because we come from, we'll be the two halves of two wheels that will drive this brand forward, or any brand that comes will be driven by design and marketing. That's what's going to, you know, having a brand is a business. Yes, is a business. It's not just art. So we realized that since we both are going to bounce off ideas at times, it will be very important for us to be very honest with each other.
Yeah.
In whatever we are expressing. Yes, you have to work on how to share your honesty with each other, because like that's something which is very, very important, and that the synergy of how honestly you can agree to disagree, or agree to work on disagreements, or come up with ideas, or complement each other's ideas that we thought that, okay, yes, I think that is great. Let me put my energy and make that even better, rather than just saying, no, that's not wrong, that's wrong, let's do it this way. So I think that really helps us together.
So I think Stuti is the yin to your yang, Nitin. So moving forward, do you as designers believe in the idea of fashion trends, or are you driven by your own philosophies and vision? I mean, you follow fashion trends on a regular basis because we say fashion is cyclical, keeps repeating, trends keep coming back, or do you think that it's not a important thing to look forward to?
I think for designers, you need to know where realization of what your brand stands for is very important for this question, because both things are right. You can be a completely fashion-driven brand, trend-driven brand, or you could be a brand that is innovating and is the one that creates trends. You know, like everybody's desire is that, but you need to know, is that your skill set or not? And we feel that our skill set lies in creating trends, in looking deeper within ourselves, and follow the design process. Now, if my design process is going to lead me to design a wide trouser, I will design it. Even if it's not right now in the high street markets, people are not wearing it. Or if my design journey is getting me to a point where I'll do like a very dandy look for a certain style. And, you know, Stuti might say like, you know, dandy is not in, Nitin. But I was like, you know, but when you look at the entire range, it will make sense because it's part of the process. True. And when you follow a process, any process properly, in the end, it all makes sense. So that's my role, to keep us as edgy and original as possible and try not to look at trends. But, you know, Stuti would like to add.
Yeah, Stuti can also elaborate.
Yeah. So, like he said, that for us as a label, when the whole process of designing a collection starts, it's never driven by trends. That's not the center point. It's not the core. But trends are a touch point. You can't completely ignore them because you have to be relevant to the markets that you're selling in, and you need to know what's going on in the market. So because me and my sales team are the first touch point for him and the consumer, we do tabulate our sales data and present it to him so that he can take whatever he wants to for the next collection. So yeah, I mean, I feel that consciously or subconsciously, trends do play an important part. There are touch points. You can't completely be away from it. But yes, for our label, they are not the center of the collection.
Yep. So if I may safely ask you, if there is going to be a trend which you will think is going to make big waves, which one would that be? Or else, how would you want to answer? What is that one trend that NBC would want to propose for the future?
I think, so to first answer the first part of your question, right. What is a big trend that I'm seeing in the market, I feel that the whole aesthetic is really moving towards a more Zen Japanese, less is more kind of a vibe.
Trend.
Yeah,
minimal.
With yes. I see. And when, like, you know, Nitin and I a lot of times discuss minimalism, that it's not always that it's less. When you go into the detail, there is a lot going on in a minimal garment as well. There's a lot of detailing, and at a certain level, it is maximism also. But yeah, I feel that the trend is moving towards that. People are like liking more clean-cut, sharper,
Right.
you know,
Edgy.
edgy Eastern-inspired aesthetic.
Right.
When I look at the market.
So Nitin, would you want to elaborate on this? Like, what do you think NBC as a brand is going to propose? Or
I think the collection that we are working on, we will definitely try to bring out some newer silhouettes, and especially to showcase at London Fashion Week. It's a market that wants to look at trends. London is at the seat of innovation. London is where Central St. Martin's College is the best college in
Yeah,
the
Central
world,
St. Martin's,
which
of
has
course,
produced,
of course.
we know it has produced
Yeah,
Galliano,
big names.
it has produced Hussein Chalian, Alexander McQueen, all the biggies, Christopher Kane.
Yeah.
So it's a seat where people are looking for innovation. You're breaking the rules. It is understood that you've reached here, so you know the rules. So they want to know how you can break them and give something to the world that the world will start following. So yes, broadly the basic principle that we are following, or the world is following right now, if I would say about trend, is to design away from the body. Like earlier 2000s or 1990s was when we were designing closer to the body, and now we are designing outside the body. So that's a different phase that you need to understand how design works when you design away from the body, and the kind of silhouettes that come up. That's what we are trying to work with right now.
Also, I'd like to add something to that. Luxury is also moving towards understated luxury. It's not in your face that I'm wearing a brand. So, we like to follow that. We never brand our product like it's never in your face. It's a product, and a person will discover what brand it is. So understated luxury is, I feel, a big trend. Nobody wants that logo in your face anymore.
Truly said.
Yeah.
So Nitin, who do you think personifies the true essence of an NBC woman or a man? Or who do you think could be the brand ambassador for NBC?
Well, the kind of art, or how I am deeply involved into art or music or the kind of cinema I watch, I really get inspired by people who are doing similar things. When you have a conversation with them, they are going places with what they're doing with their lives. They have a clean direction, they are well read, they have absorbed the right kind of, or they are absorbing, they are a sucker for the right kind of content. And when you discuss to them about something that they are passionate about or they are interested in, they can go on and on about it. They have in-depth knowledge. I always get drawn towards such people, be it somebody who's a scientist and who's developing this crazy technology.
Wow.
Or and we had a chance to interact and collaborate with an MIT-based company called Gravity Labs, and they were their invention was called the invention of the year in 2019 by Time magazine. And they had devised a certain contraption that can be fixed onto a car or any locomotive vehicle, and it collects all the carbon emission from the vehicle and it's converted into ink. And that goes on to create, we can use that on a garment or we can dye. So it's going to be a huge solution for a problem. Now, talking to such people or people that they are inspiring with, such people really inspire me. And I always such independent, forward-thinking men and women to associate with our label.
So I think what Nitin also says that for us, I don't think it's one person. It's a spirit.
Right.
Which cannot be embodied into a person.
It has to have a soul of all these elements which you talked about.
Yes. So anybody who is free, is a bit rebellious, passionate, I think that would be any person who's like that. We would love to dress them up and relate to them as being our ambassadors.
And I think it's true to the essence of the NBC label, because you said that want to keep evolving and keep changing as time goes by. So the face of the label also keeps dynamic.
Evolving. It's very dynamic.
We common people who can afford the clothing, and they all happen to be well-traveled. They like to read and well-exposed. And I think that's the customer, and if we can help them remember more of their childhood and things that they were really passionate about, especially in their teens and early 20s. Because I think those are formidable years when you make the right choices in life, or those choices that define your life. So right from, you are 12 to 30, the things that you absorb, imbibe, those things like define what you're going to be.
become later.
And like, people who are in sync with that still, I
Those
really,
elements,
yes,
Yeah,
I really enjoy interacting with them.
So moving on with the conversation, Nitin, it has been observed that you constantly incorporate elements from Indian handicrafts and textiles. So how important do you think it is to preserve these cultural elements into the modern fashion?
Extremely important, I think, and it is important to preserve them.
True, yeah.
Because they are already there. Like we were in a museum yesterday and
Yeah.
we were looking at them.
The Bihar Museum.
Yes, the Bihar Museum, and a huge part of the design community takes inspiration from them. But we as a label, we are in the role of, as you said, innovation. So our job is to create something that would be heritage 100 or 200 years from now. So if we get inspired by a mosque and the calligraphy that's been done on it,
Elements from Chamba, for example, you
Chamba.
started off your work with.
absolutely. So like there was a time when I started looking at the 3 oldest temples, wooden temples in India. All 3 are in Chamba. And the kind of the carvings and miniature paintings done on it is really exquisite and unique. So yes, there was a time when I was inspired and I took direct inspiration from things like that. But essentially what I realized was you need to also step into a role where the craft becomes the king and not a particular heritage. Because everybody starts looking and gets inspired just by a heritage, we don't find newness. We'll just find that that thing has been interpreted in a different way. There's also a role of taking the same embroidery technique,
So the
a needle and a thread.
specificities of a certain craft has to be brought about.
Very true, and
Yeah.
absolutely. So like when we do 3-dimensional embroidery, and we take it abroad, if you don't tell them that this is from India, they can't figure out the handwriting. It looks futuristic or contemporary or anything. And that's where we think India is also supposed to be moving. That's where we should go out. Like, yes, we have had designers who get inspired by Ambiya and lotus motifs and all of that. But like, what is the motif that people living in 2020 will give to the world in 3020? What is that motif? Are we designing that motif? Or will it be inspired by lotus? Or will it be inspired by our experiences now? By using our techniques that are there and will always be there. And that's where I think a true voice starts coming forth, when out of your existing, craft, or the existing techniques that India offers, how can it just create a different language, I can say? Yes, a different handwriting altogether.
True.
Yeah, like we discussed, you hail from Chamba, and which is so picturesque and scenic. And you said that yes, you have taken inspiration from the temples, but at the same time, how do you maintain the timelessness of design? As you're speaking, that what I designed today in 2024, how does it stay relevant in your mind, and people would still remember you while looking at the design in, say, 3024, and still recognize that it is Chamba? So if you could throw some light on how 3D embroidery comes in and how does it work for you?
We started looking at embroidery, and say, if you're just talking about embroidery per se, we started looking at, when you do hand embroidery over an adda, so you lay a frame and then the fabric is, tied to it from all directions, and then you take a needle and you do certain tankas and certain stitches, and it is driven towards certain motifs. So when I figured that I don't want to work on a particular motif as such, because I love to draw. My line drawing is like something which I've really worked hard on, and I enjoy
yes.
I really enjoy the line quality, and sometimes it might just be some random crisscrosses that I've just done, but it has that lyrical quality and beauty. So now how do I express this in a new way? So then we had to come up with, I have these particular materials. can I make something which doesn't look like this? So I had to turn to modern architecture for it. So I started looking at different architects' work. I went to Tokyo. I was very inspired by the futuristic buildings and designs over there. And then when I came back and I took those inspirations and I started realizing, I just like, are you guys familiar with this term, Nalki? नलकी
Of
पता है
course, a
सबको
lot
क्या
of
होता
them.
है?
A lot of them.
यस नलकी छोटा सा इतना सा एक ग्लास का या मेटल का एक पाइप होता है वो 1 mm का भी होता है जिस 2 3 4 10 30 इट ऑल्सो गोज टू 30 mm 50 mm so but it was always being used kept flat or otherwise somewhere you would just use it vertically and put some sequins on top and again have a motif on top.
Yeah.
So just the simple way of not using the embroidery in a horizontal way, but just like putting it like this, just opened up a whole new world to us. Because then on top of these needles, lines of fabric would just travel across the garment and create a beautiful texture and a very modern vibe. And the people who are making it are the same guys who were making those motifs. So that way, you end up creating something from the same technique.
So you basically change the perspective.
Yeah.
And I would like that because you asked that how does it still stay relevant 20, 30 years from now. I feel that anything that's original and comes from a very pure space will remain relevant for a very long
Very
time.
long time, true.
To give you an example, like when I was in in school, all of you must have watched this series called Friends. Everybody's
Yes.
seen Friends,
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Very
So
much.
Friends came out when I was in 7th grade, 97.
Yeah.
And I see my niece still getting stuck to the laptop and watching Friends. So it is, if anything comes out of a nice creative space, it is relevant to different...
For a very long time.
Yeah, for a very long time.
Also, since you're talking about artisans using the elements and the techniques that they have been using for a long time, how adaptive you think these master craftsmen and artisans who work with those techniques and have been passed, these techniques have been passed to them through generations, to changing that perspective that we are talking about?
Yeah. I mean,
Nitin should answer that. He's really worked hard
I
with our
think it's
team.
every designer's dilemma to work when you want to do things differently. And they are like, ये नहीं हो सकता, this is not possible, ये ऐसे नहीं होगा. But having said that, they are also very, very fast to grasp it.
Yes.
If you can sit with them for the next 5 hours and one by one just get it done, and they see that no, it is possible, then they start applying their brains. Yeah.
I think there's an initial hesitation, but if you
But,
nudge them in the
Yes.
right direction,
Yes.
Absolutely,
yes,
and
yes.
then after some time, when new embroiderers or new people are joining, then these are the guys who teach them, and they tell them, "Arey, when other tailors or embroiderers come for a trial, so they say, "Arey, यहाँ वो काम नहीं होता है."
yeah.
So then they are the ones feeling like, we work in a space where regular
Something
work
new
नहीं
or
होता है.
creative has
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah, they take
So-
pride in it.
Because they are the ones who know the technique, and and it's amazing. Like you throw like 100 beads in front of them and give them a needle and thread, and
Things they can do
without
with them.
any specs,
Crazy.
he's gonna and I'll just give you a demo of how far. Here the beads are. Here this guy is sitting. The needle is here, and the needle is here. He'll be like.
It's like a machine.
Yeah, it almost become like a human
Yeah.
machine.
Oh, the
Human
way
machine, yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
precise, and
Yes.
then
Very mechanized.
my
Yeah.
my design would have like 1,000 or 5,000 dots
Yeah.
moving in a certain progression. So we don't have a khakha maker. I am the khakha master of my
Wow.
company. I still make all my drawings myself
Yeah.
because we need an artist. Thank you. So then, like, if I've made that drawing with 5,000, 10,000 dots, then I tell them, boss, जब छापा है तो वो डॉट सारे नजर आ रहे हैं ना, आपको अपनी मर्जी से एक डॉट भी नहीं डालना है. Every bead should fall on that one. Like you work
Yeah.
for Organ,
Yeah,
you know all
yeah,
of this.
absolutely,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
We've seen that happening,
We have
yes.
seen that.
so, and with that speed and agility,
They improvise brilliantly, yes.
Yes.
and
I
they are,
agree.
they are able to create that.
I think it also stems from the fact that this tradition is an intrinsic memory to them. They have been handed it over from
Yeah.
generations, and
Yeah.
they have seen it all their lives, and it just flows in
Yeah,
their veins.
they're
I think
conditioned
it's
to
very
it.
easy for them to translate things once they understand
Very
it.
true. 30 years of experience. You know what they say? अरे सर हमको पता है हमने सब किया हमने 5 डिजाइनर का काम किया हमने हर तरह का काम देखा है आप बताओ
I think on that note, all our master craftsmen and artisans need an applause
oh for
for
sure
all their work. So, moving on, Stuti, as you said that you started your creative stint with NBC label with a creative collection, portfolio, and it is very different from what you do now at NBC. Would you like to share more about your journey and how you have progressed from that role to this one?
Yeah, like I said that, I felt a very strong need that the label needed somebody who could tell our story to our end consumer. And me coming from a business family had a slightly better business acumen. Like Nitin is a total creative head. It's like, it's a total mad creative head. But I somehow had a business acumen. And though I love to design, I still design collections, accessory collections for him. But this was a challenge that I really wanted to take up. So because like I said that I felt that there was such a huge disbalance between the potential and the result that I needed to take this up and start working towards it. So I, one by one, started kind of, reading up my own experience, taking up the business aspect of the label because it had such immense potential which needed to be explored. So yeah, from there to now, I now have a team of people and we mapped the entire country. We have a huge NBC family that loves our work. So yeah,
But you still get the creative itch
and,
from
and
time on.
and one thing that she really brought and made me understand was that Nitin, after looking at what we create, she said, let's do quality. Let's focus on quality over quantity.
Over quantity.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the kind of people who like your kind of work, I've been around. I did the circuit with her as well, the entire India. So her analysis was that, the customer that likes you is very unique. They are into their zones and, they won't like a celebrity to wear this, so they will wear your garment. So she said, we're going to go the opposite direction. It's going to be go against the tide. And I'm going to ask you to create good stuff that you believe in, but create less. I'm going to distribute it less. I'm going to control it. I'm not going to mass produce it. And that's going to be my pitch to the client. We go to a city, we have a style. Sometimes what happens, guys, I'll tell you, you might have designed a collection of 50 pieces and it's lying on the rack. And there'll be just this one particular style. People are going nuts.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a
And
lot.
everybody's saying, and like the families, the HNI families, they have their own circuit. So, we were like, everybody's going to end up wearing the same style. And all of them are like, और किसको बेचा है, उसको तो नहीं बेचा है, सबका अपना अपना competition होता है कि कहीं उनको तो नहीं आपने sell किया है.
Yeah.
But or they'll try to make some different change in it. So that's where we realized, no, people are loving it, but we need to push them. So she does a lot of pushing that, okay, this style is selling a lot, but try this style. This is great for your body type. And then she will solve those problems of proportion for her and looking at her body type, she'll pull out 3-4 styles. So, and then she will say, you will not get a lot of people wearing it. So you will be like interested in wearing that. That's something which I think she excels. I hear that a lot from, because like whenever she's doing the events, all our camaraderie of other designers, everybody is there, and Stuti with her team is slaying it.
So we'll hold on with this point in conversation, and I'd like to ask Tuti that you have primarily been a leather design graduate from NIF Delhi, But within the NBC ecosystem, you have reinvented yourself and you're focusing on business strategies. We'd like to know more about the guiding principles that you follow and how do you navigate the entire business, which you had shared earlier.
So, like Nitin already mentioned, when in the starting of the journey, it was controlling quantity, so always quality over quantity. We were very happy to service a lesser number of people, but then do it right. Do it because it's luxury, it needs to be seamless. So we controlled our production and we reached out to a particular set of people that we really wanted to be a part of NBC family, and vice versa. They also really connected with us, our design philosophy, our product. So, it was very important to take care of that handful of people and keep them close to us. Secondly, I felt that our product required storytelling.
Yeah.
It was, and that goes out to, because so many of you might have your own labels. If you do have an original voice,
original narrative.
Yeah, an original narrative, you have to go out there, educate the customer, and talk about your story before you can, really convert
So
that
it's
into
not enough
sales.
just to design
No.
a unique or an out-of-the-box
No.
collection, but it is...
No, not at all.
It's important to communicate,
Communicate,
it well, and
yes.
you should have a story which is unique to tell.
Yes, absolutely. So good storytelling, reaching out to the customer, that was very important. And thirdly, I think at NBC, and that's how I train my sales team also, we hate hard selling a product. I hate that. And I hate shoving down a product down a consumer's throat. I like to connect with my customer. I like them to connect with our label, our philosophy, our story.
Therefore, NBC becomes a destination rather than just a walk-in.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like a true, businessman. Business की बातें बाद में कर लेंगे.
You talk about everything else but selling.
So I think it's niche marketing at its best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Stuti, in this age of social media dominance, how imperative do you think it is for designers to use this social media in a strategic manner to their advantage, which you have been doing with NBC for a very long time?
Yes. I feel it's a very important tool. And, back in the day when we had started our journey, we were totally dependent on publications to kind of tell our story, I mean, whatever we were doing, some third person was writing about us, like a Vogue or an Elle or a Harper's, so we were completely dependent on publications to share what the collection is
editorials.
about. Through editorials. But the moment this landscape changed and Instagram and other social media tools came into play, a very interesting shift happened that everybody got the power to tell their own
They had
story.
their voice. You had your voice, your own voice.
Exactly. Everybody got that voice, So yes, it's very important to have a voice and to communicate that. But having said that, we never compulsively post. I abhor the idea of
True to
putting
your essence and your belief system. Yes.
I mean, you can see our page also. We are not a label who are going to post every day. We hate that. I mean, Nitin, we both hate being bombarded with content that doesn't make sense.
True.
I mean, it's irritating to see posts that don't make sense, so we don't do it to others, So, yeah.
So how often do you post?
So it can...
Let's say on Instagram, for example.
It totally depends when we are ready with an idea. When it is fully ripe and we have something, once the story is completely, we are convinced about it and we've known it or done it in a new way. Like if you look at our last campaign, I think it's the world's first fashion graphic novel that we have done.
Yeah.
You type that
So you branched out into doing graphic novels as well. Great, fantastic.
But in a digital format.
Absolutely.
But it is the world's
Yes.
first fashion graphic novel inspired by...
What's the title?
It's The Stranger. It's inspired by Albert Camus' novel,
Yes.
The Stranger. The collection was inspired by...
Great blend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's our favorite writer, Albert Camus. So we took like 10, 15 best scenes from that define the film and we shot our entire, we made a collection around it, and then we shot it entirely like that. So in Instagram, you go from top to, from bottom to top. So you scroll down the pages, you'll find the epilogue page, where the character, eventually what happens to him just before the judgment is pronounced. That scene has been shot,
Yeah.
and after that the novel starts with his mother's funeral. So, and as you scroll up, you will go through the whole story from the perspective of, so like, and there are dialogues that have been written by me in every scene.
So you've done
And
the illustrations
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
the dialogues and
That
everything.
sounds
Fantastic. yeah.
wonderful, Nitin. And
We'd
that
love to go through it.
Please
brings-
do, and like it's a different way of using a medium. So as you're saying, we're working
Yeah.
on our next. When it will be ready, we will
You'll
release it.
see it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you'll create
Looking
that
forward,
buzz.
yes.
And that also brings me to my next question for you, Nitin. A lot of us know you primarily as a designer, but you don many hats. You are a self-taught artist. You love to read. I've seen that you have also made a movie that Lost or Found that won the Best Cinematography Award at the New York Film Festival. So, would you like to share or tell us more about your multifaceted personality?
Well, yes, surely. I think I was fortunate enough to be in NIFT. It just opened few, things from me, especially art. Exposed to world art, and then photography happened, and we were taught photography, and we were very miserly in clicking pictures, because we had to develop that film.
We
It wasn't
haven't gone digital then.
Absolutely, and we yes, and we couldn't shoot on auto mode.
Yes.
We had to set the settings right, and then click a picture, set the balance, lighting. We had to put a lot of thought before we thought this deserves to be shot. So having done that, I started making my mood boards and everything completely short. I never used any picture after that to make my directional boards or everything.
Right.
And that helped me create, once I graduated, that helped me create movies, because I just translated the composition and my writing skill into creating a film. And I made a documentary film in Chamba about a girl, and then existential quest, angst hit me, and Lost or Found came about.
Yes.
Yes.
And it
Albert
got
Camus from there on. Looks like a good
absolutely, and I'm a board member of FDCI,
Great.
Fashion
Yes.
Design Council of India,
Yeah.
for like 7 years now. And when COVID hit and we decided to do Phygital Fashion Week for the first time, that's when I told the board that since I have experience in cinema, let me just shoot a couple of films to tell all our design fraternity that we have a inbuilt studio in our space, and we will shoot films for you, so that we go on with our calendar. And that's what we did. I shot a film, and then designers got an idea that this is how they're going to shoot. And inside the studio, then, I think over a period of 3 seasons, we did like that. Couture and Main Fashion Week, I might have, directed almost like 50, 70 fashion films,
Wow.
spearheading
Great.
different teams and getting them on the same page. So that was interesting. But I love art, and I've done commissions for, collectors. Like I've done works which are like 20 feet big also, and 3 feet by 3 feet as well. So I'm lucky to dabble in these different crafts, and lucky that NIFT gave me a chance to discover myself, maybe.
Yes.
Both of you are so inspiring.
Thank you.
But we'd like to now break into a fun question. So if there's one celebrity in the world you would like to dress, who would that be and why? And this question is for both of you.
Yes.
Yes.
One by one. So we'll start off with Nitin first.
Okay. I am always like, I suck at these questions, because again, I'll give you a lecture on this.
So we are looking
We are
forward.
open to it.
Looking forward, yes.
Yeah, so I think clothes are the real stars. I don't believe in dressing up celebrities. Seriously, I've never believed it. And if some celebrity wants to wear my garment, they are more than welcome to walk in our store or come and buy it from us and wear it as many number of times. I don't believe in the culture of wearing things once and then just it's like, I don't know, how can I wear something that I can't I don't think design actors some of them could afford the amount of clothes they wear every day. They'll change 5 times. The bill that if they had to buy in a month would be like, how much? It's a marketing strategy, works for some, that's great. But for me, I think I love it when a regular customer walks into it and looks at the garment and relates to it, listens to the story and says, yeah, so that's my celebrity,
That's
an
your
unknown
celebrity,
face.
yes. Yes.
I don't tell them to post wherever. If they want to, for their own life, they can do that. But to have those client diaries and all those things, that's where I am from.
Absolutely agree to you, Nitin. But we also would want to hear from Stuti.
So I am currently in love with Tilda Swinton.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Yes.
think I would love to dress her up because she's this tiny thing and yet so
Adventures
strong.
of Narnia.
Powerful.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So it's Tilda Swinton for me.
Yes. Okay. So again, this question is for both of you. If you could travel back in time, what would be that one fashion era that you'd like to go back and design for?
I'd love to go back to the 1920s.
And why would that be?
The
I
roaring
love-
20s.
I love
Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
The Great Gatsby.
Yes.
Art Deco.
Great
Midnight
Gatsby,
in
yes.
Paris,
I think,
and because reason being I think 20s was the first time when Chanel came in and women started to power dress a little.
Androgynous
They
fashion came in,
let go
yes.
of the frills, but yet they were accessorizing themselves so beautifully with the berets and the boas and the pearls. So I think for me it's the 1920s.
Okay. That's a beautiful era to
Dapper
pick.
era.
Yeah.
Nitin,
I have got an error for you, don't worry. Don't worry. The end of 70s, early 80s, that's when like designers from Japan, like Rei
Rei
Kawakubo,
Comme des Garçons.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely, and Yoji Yamamoto,
Yoji Yamamoto.
and likes, they came and they broke the French way of fashion, the French dressing scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
The
they,
first time any other community apart from Europe actually broke into the Paris fashion scene. Things
Yes.
like that happened.
Absolutely, and you would remember how they were like, they had those anti-fitted silhouettes,
Yes.
the patterns changed.
Stood in contrast.
Anti-fashion started
Yes.
to be talked about.
Yeah, which stood in
Absolutely.
contrast with what we were doing till then. We were so defined, we were silhouette-y, edgy, and then suddenly we are going all minimalistic, we are going anti-fit, we are going flowy garments.
Androgyny, like,
Androgyny, yes.
women started wearing tweeds and they got all that fervor. And then also Antwerp 6 happened at that
Yes.
time.
Belgium 6, yes.
Belgium 6. So Antwerp, so like, I think that era had so much of revolution.
And Jamila Mester and Martin Margiela and their
Margiela
lives,
and
yeah.
absolutely the likes
Kurt
of them.
Wickenbergs and all of them, yes.
All of them came that time. Wouldn't it be awesome to be in that era? Just to see the rules being broken in front of you and years, like 60 years of fashion just like flying out of the window and suddenly there's a new philosophy. Wow.
I
The day
think-
6 Indian designers do that to the world, that would be the time. I wish I'd see that in my lifetime.
I think both of you chose very beautiful eras to go back to. While we're talking about fashion eras, we say that the fashion ecosystem is constantly evolving, right? And we need to adapt and evolve ourselves. So what would be your mantra for the current generation of aspiring designers to stay relevant?
Well, for me, it is like they need to look within themselves. One thing that we were taught at NIFT was like try to open a magazine like a collezione, and then just flip pages of designs.
Yeah.
And the first thing you just have to do is just break it down into two things. I like, I don't like. I like, I don't like. I like, I don't like. So that's the first, instances of you getting to know. And once you have just like put those tags on the likes and the dislikes, you start understanding how your mind is thinking consciously, subconsciously, because you're not prepared when you're going to flip a page, what's going to come next.
True.
And it's not something you're flipping that you can't then reassess. So that
Absolutely.
magazine is going to be right there in front of you. And once you've done that, you realize where you are, what are your tastes like. So yeah, to answer your question, to understand who you are is the most important thing for any person who wants to express themselves.
Absolutely. I think it's a very simple technique that you just said that we were taught at NIFT, but I think it's very powerful at the same time that how just flipping through pages, you could actually demarcate what you like, what you don't like, what you want to present to the world, or how you want to cater to your audience.
Absolutely, and I think that's, it sets you. And after that, if you are at NIFT, you will know how to go forward. But yeah,
yes.
that one step is essential.
I'd like to add to that
Sure, sure.
yes,
Absolutely.
obviously knowing knowing what you like and knowing your true voice, being original is a very important factor. That please try to create something that is fresh, because we are no longer, you guys are very lucky that way, is that there is so much awareness in terms of fashion. An Indian customer is also very well aware, the end consumer is very well aware of whatever is happening. They've seen, they're well traveled. So find your voice, have an original product to offer to the market. That will give you the edge to kind of break into the market. And having said that, like that is the creative aspect, the creative part of you being a successful designer. But having said that, it's a very challenging, very time-taxing profession. And so perseverance, keep persevering. There's this movie, I don't know if you guys have seen Shawshank Redemption, in which he keeps hammering the wall with that little
Bit by bit,
chisel,
yes.
bit by bit every day. So, have that perseverance to keep hammering the wall every day till it falls. Yeah.
That was very beautiful. Very good.
Coming back to your brand again, NBC, what is that current buzz at NBC about? And would you like to share that with us? What is that buzz, and what's your next journey going to be, your next step?
So, every label has a journey, and journey towards growth and towards a certain vision. I think the last 16 years we've been able to successfully execute and accomplish phase 1 of NBC, and we are ready to consolidate our phase 2, which is going international. The journey of going international also started pretty long back, I think 2009. 2009 when we first showcased at London Fashion Week, and then he got selected by the Tokyo Grand Prix to represent India at Tokyo Fashion Week. So, our journey on the international platform started way back, but now it's time to really consolidate that position and make a mark for ourselves internationally.
So would you like to share the details of which would be those geographical locations or areas where you would be exploring further?
So to start with, it's London, because London is this one place that I feel as a fashion capital has a lot of creative energy.
Yes.
And it has a lot
Especially
of
street fashion. Yeah.
street fashion, yeah, and a lot of raw creative energy. It's a place where McQueen came from, or Galliano came from. So we are looking at London right now because I think it is in sync with our vibe. And yeah, then slowly reach.
Obviously, that gives us the chance to be in entire Europe and
also see how
Japanese
the market adapts or responds to your design, and
yes.
then you move on further.
Absolutely,
there.
and even Russia for that matter,
Yes.
we got a great response there, and we've already in talks with certain stores over there, and they're expecting us to showcase next season again. So that's also a market that we're looking at.
So how do you define Russia as a fashion market?
They are hungry for fashion. They are hungry for fashion. They understand fashion. They want edgy clothing. And I saw a lot of shows earlier because like they've had almost 20 years of Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week.
Yes.
So, like they are very well in tune. Their production is world class. Their shows start on dot time. Every show starts on time. There's a timer that goes on. And whatever the show time is mentioned on the invite,
Right.
the show starts, and they had
Right on
they had 80 shows or 90 shows this season. Every show started just on time.
And that
And very
speaks
clear.
volumes about them. Then.
Yes, how their back end is, their production
Yeah.
is good. And it was all shows were very well attended. They were very well attended.
So, all right, Nitin and Stuti, we'd wrap up today's homecoming session with a rapid fire round, if that's okay with you.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'd like both of you to answer these set of questions.
So great. And then here we go. And as Sneha said, that both of you need to answer this. So the first question is, easy one, favorite color to work with? And we'll go one by one. Nitin first, for example.
No favorite color, but as I say, every color is great. It's only, ugly amounts of color that makes a color bad. So I love all colors.
So you mean to say proportion is important?
Proportion is important in using color.
Shruti, your take on that?
So I have phases, and there was this one phase where I was crazy about neon, so I was sourcing everything that's neon and making neon accessories. There was a black phase, white phase. These days I'm really leaning towards an imperial red. I think I'm loving that color. Yeah.
Thank you. Who's your favorite artist, for example? Because I know you delve into the area of fine arts, and who's your favorite artist?
Top of the hat, Vincent van Gogh.
Both of us,
Oh.
same
Takes
answer.
the easy
Vincent van
answer.
Gogh. Yeah.
Takes the cake.
I think he's a classic, and people across generation and timelines love him.
Absolutely. I think
exactly.
everybody in this room should read his biography called Lust for Life. There are
Watch the movie.
there are movies
Very
made on
beautifully
him
played.
by different
Yes,
directors.
And heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And also he was such a great writer because he used to
Yeah.
communicate with Theo,
Letters.
and his
Absolutely.
letters
Yeah.
teach you so much.
I know.
It's
And we
amazing.
live in such an era where immersive art has come in, and we have so many exhibitions
Yes.
that you can
Very
immerse
true. We
yourself
went
in.
for
Van
that as
Gogh's,
well.
yes,
Yes, yes.
That
So
was so
it's
amazing.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
So you get to experience it on a different plane, I think,
Yeah,
altogether.
in fact, like when we were in Amsterdam last year, and we got a chance to visit the Van Gogh Museum, and they too have this audio visual this thing, where you can take a tour and they provide.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
immersed in their
Yeah,
world
yeah,
of Vincent
yes,
van Gogh.
yeah.
And the stories behind the work.
Yeah.
And it's like we've seen a lot of museums. I mean,
Yeah.
we've traveled and we've seen a lot of museums, but coming out of the Vincent van Gogh Museum it's like by the end of it you are just crying. You're just crying because here you see
So much of inspiration, so much to see.
so much, and the guy himself couldn't say it. Like
Yeah.
I mean, he just was so passionate creating. I mean, there was this phrase that I read at the museum that Vincent's madness was not because of his work. It was he expressed his madness through his work.
Through his
you know,
art.
Yes,
yeah, through his
artwork.
art. Because people said it's going crazy, but in spite of that, he still
He
continued to
still
believe and
painted.
paint,
He
which
went
is
on and on.
which
Went
is
on and
crazy. It's amazing. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Agree with you, agree with you.
yeah.
So, are you an early bird or a night owl?
Yeah.
Early bird. So, yeah. Okay.
Favorite fabric to design with?
Wool. And so much it breaks my heart that it's so difficult to work with wool in this country for luxury clothing. Because we don't have the weather for wool.
Weather for
And
wool,
wherever there is the cold regions are there in the country,
How do you manipulate?
they don't have the
with-
purchasing
yeah.
power to buy designer wear.
So that's
So
why
much.
London calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this phase, when I finally go back again, because I was making so much wool in the beginning, and we would get a claim and people would say, wow. But like as Stuti said, like there weren't any takers, like people in Bombay, in Surat, everywhere across India, the temperature just doesn't allow. They love the jacket, they love the suit, but like,
Yeah.
where am I going to
But
wear
do
it?
not maybe buy.
Yes, and we had to cut that. I had to stay away from wool for like so long. I was like, "Man," and now like I'm finally like, now we are going as phase 2,
Yes.
going out, reaching out. I think wool and felt and everything to do with wool is gonna be.
Stuti, your take on that?
So for me, obviously I've studied leather. So I love faux leather, not real leather. No, I'm against that. So I
Yes,
love.
we need to be conscious.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Conscious,
We
yes.
need to be conscious. And so I love faux leather. But having said that, I also love working with non-conventional experimental sustainable materials, which we keep creating at the studio. I mean, there are times where we've designed accessories made out of just scrap or just dumped plastic or a tube of a tire. So, basically just
Wow.
collecting garbage and converting that into a nice, sustainable, usable material. That's something that's a challenge, and I love working with
Yeah,
that.
I think you guys don't proclaim it, but your brand is practicing sustainability at its best. You're talking
Yes.
about classic
Yeah.
fashion, you're talking about silhouettes
right.
that keep reinventing themselves, and then
Yeah.
you're talking about recycling.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I-
yes.
Right from your roots when you started off from Chamba till now. Yes, it's a reflection of sustainability. Going on, one word to describe your design aesthetics, just one word.
Bold.
Okay, for Nitin and for Stuti?
Edgy, very sharp. It's like always.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll take it up from here. So Nitin, what is your one big source of inspiration? If you just have to name one.
Yeah, I mean, like she's prompting it.
She knows you
She
well.
knows you well.
Yeah, he shares his birthday with Van Gogh.
Wow. No doubt, yes.
So, like, it's written there in stone.
Van Gogh.
So he greatly inspires me for like the reason is
Yeah.
because if you want to go the road less traveled, then you have to prepare yourself for the obstacles that are going to come. You can't complain that, oh my God, it's so hot, when you know that you're going to cross a desert. So like if you really have to believe that, and this man is the embodiment of that, because we are still lucky. We are still getting to express in front of all of you. So like, our life is done, compared to Van Gogh, who is the father of modern art, but in his living life, he couldn't sell one work.
Nobody
But
recognized
but
it.
he painted every day. His works that sell for 35 million or he would have created that in an hour.
Yeah, true.
Word.
Gogh.
I can drop the mic here. So yeah.
So
He
the-
teaches perseverance.
Yes, we totally agree. Stuti, what is your inspiration?
Me, I've gotten inspired obviously by a lot of artists, musicians. I take inspiration from here and there. Like any inspiring story is good for me to get inspired. But it might sound cliche on a day-to-day basis. I think he's my biggest inspiration because I mean, working closely with him, he's always at it. He is so passionate, and he has this never say die kind of spirit, and it's amazing. It's just amazing to be around such a creative energy. It's very, very inspiring. Yeah.
That's very beautiful an answer. If you had to pick one fashion capital, Nitin, which one would it be?
Tokyo.
Tokyo?
London.
And Stuti, London?
London.
Yeah.
So I see your marketing inputs are affecting your design direction, Nitin. Yes. Okay. If you have to put your finger on one design element that defines you, what would it be?
Fabric manipulation, I guess. That's where everything maybe starts for me.
Okay. And you as an accessory designer, Stuti?
Like I said, innovation. Anything
Innovation?
that's- Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite part of the design process, Nitin?
Because you talked a lot about
About
inspiration,
design
and you shared how
processes.
you went on clicking pictures and pictures, and you
And how you translate tangible from
that
intangible.
into your,
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I can break it into three parts. Yes, that is beautiful. That phase of just like trying to create something before it takes shape and what all I do. I really, really enjoy that. But the real fun comes when you try to bring that together to something. So like, give you an example. We'll take a square piece of fabric and we'll start folding it. So we'll fold it till it looks like something that we haven't seen anywhere. And if I ask you to make a new design of a new bow design, you'll start with the most common one, then you'll work on pleats, and then and then you'll change shapes, all of that. I really enjoyed that process of creating that.
So I think when your inspiration first inches
Yeah.
closer to realization.
It's a three-step process. And just before the whole collection comes together, you've done those different things, and then you just bring them together. In a collection, there is this watercolor painting moment.
Yeah.
Because with
Yeah.
watercolor, you don't know which way it's going to go.
It goes. True.
And there comes a time ki shit, sab kharab ho gaya hai, ye galat hai, and that's when you hold your love.
yourself back.
Just next 10 minutes, things just like, yeah, you did it. So just that. And then there'll be some other steps left. But that critical part, when you bring it together and you add that touch, I think that takes the cake for the moment.
That anticipation
Yes,
of
yes.
it coming.
Yes, and that rush and that unsure element of like, The ground beneath your feet is not there with you. You're not sure. Because that's what I've heard greats say, that if you are very sure about what you're doing, then perhaps you're not pushing it.
Enough.
So you need to be in an area where you don't know. You have to make that and leave little error, because you don't know everything, how it's going to come out.
Yes.
But that's where is the foundation for innovation, I guess. You
Yeah.
take that edge and you break it and then you move forward.
And you're
yeah.
open to
Correct.
new, unexpected outcomes.
Yeah, just let it, yeah.
Yeah. Suti, what would your...
I am completely the opposite. Yeah, I need to know everything on paper, what the design is going to look like.
Okay.
His approach is he improvises. It's a work in progress. And I need to know everything on paper. So sketching
So
is my...
perfect blend between the two.
if you may call it so. But for me, sketching and making detailed drawings of my accessories is the part that I enjoy the most. When I'm sketching it, I'm with a rotring pen rendering each and every stitch line, each and every trim that goes onto the bag, and understanding the technicalities of the product while sketching it in silence. I love that.
So you like the surety of doing
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I need to know everything on paper.
Okay, we do the last question of the rapid fire. If you weren't designers, what would you be? So Nitin, if you weren't Nitin Bal Chauhan, the designer, what would you be?
I would still not be sure, should I be a graffiti artist? Should I be a filmmaker? Or should I be a graphic novelist?
The multifaceted person that you are.
Too many,
But
good
maybe,
at too many
I don't know
things.
which one to. I'm always like this on a menu. I wouldn't know which one. What do I really want today? I don't know. So it could be either of them. I think maybe a graphic novelist.
Graphic
Graphic
novelist, it
novelist.
is?
You're already venturing into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Suti,
I would have a rock and roll band.
Yeah, we wanted to
We-
touch that note because we know that you had your own band and
Yeah.
used to sing.
Yeah.
So please elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I've a lot of times when my friends hear me sing, they tell me, "Why are you a designer?"
They just don't say that. They look at me and say that.
Why are you making her do this?
Visual perceptions.
Why is she designing?
Yeah, why is she designing? Yeah, so I've been singing from as long as I can remember.
And what kind of songs?
So when I was small, it was obviously Bollywood, because that was the only music that I was
Yes.
exposed to. But by the time I reached 6th or 7th grade, I have an elder brother who was listening to a lot of Metallica, Guns N' Roses and Nirvana.
Yes,
So that was a rock music, rock and alternate rock was a great influence. Then went into rock and roll, and so I've explored different genres. And I had a band which was a country rock and roll band. We used to perform 2 gigs. So I think if I weren't a designer, I would
Do you
be.
still continue to do that?
I am not actively gigging right now, but because we both have very good parties at our place and big parties at our place. So every time there's a party, I'm always singing with my guitar. So yeah.
wonderful. So it was really fun getting to know all your preferences. Thank you so much for both of you for joining us today and sharing your insights with our audience. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with all of you.
Likewise. Thank you so
And-
much for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Thank you. It was
We
great.
will now open the floor for the audiences to ask questions from both of them if they have any.
Yes, there's a hand over there. Somebody needs to
yeah.
give. Somebody needs
I
to
am
give a
sure
mic.
there are questions. People are initially,
We want the
thinking.
volunteers to take the mic to the students.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Aditi Sharma. I'm from Foundation Program. And my question to you is, what do you think is the future prospect of fashion in India and globally?
Aditi, you are in a great phase right now, foundation, and you are the one who's going to decide that.
Yes.
No, I'm not joking. So the answer lies with you, holding that mic and taking that step and joining a premier institute like this one. You have the answer to it. I can be a fortune teller and tell you how things are going to be, okay? And you're going to prove me right. So, India is shining right now, and this is the world over. Everybody's talking about these 30 years, if India does everything right and capitalizes it, not just fashion, every industry, India is going to grow. So, fashion industry is going to grow and is growing, at a very, very fast pace right now. But you need to understand, fashion, when you say fashion, now you're a fashion student, be very clear when you say, are you talking about Indian fashion or are you talking about fashion? Because Indian fashion is the Indian traditional fashion, which is based or centered around weddings and occasions, around weddings and about weddings, whereas fashion in general is what all we are wearing today, or could be also for other occasions which are more formal, okay? Which the world by and large is wearing. So the Indian fashion market will grow like any number of labels can come and design. The market is going to get more and more cluttered, and people are going to make a hell lot of money, okay? So if you want to design lehengas, if you want to design a range around that and everything, you will have a lot of business and a lot of money to make, just like hands down. Okay, as long as you're good. But when it comes to fashion and you want to create, you want to understand the Western wear language and what Western wear fashion can give you, that's going to take much, much more of understanding about fashion. It's going to take a stronger and a deeper understanding about how the world moves, which way it is moving, and what is the handwriting that they expect you to write in. Okay, fashion as a style, the word we use is, what's your handwriting? That is, what's your style? And in order to develop that style, the Indian designers are pushing the boundaries right now, and you will find more and more Indian designers reaching out to the world, okay? And by the time you graduate in 5 years or 6 years from now, you will have a great platform, Aditi. You will have designers who would have done that. They would come here, share their experiences with you, how to break that market, what are the challenges to be faced. Maybe sometime, we can come in as well again and share some of other technical views about how to sell, what matters, what are the challenges you will face, and how you can break into the international scene. So, to round off the question, I think it's a great, great time. But it's also a very difficult time and dangerous time, because everybody knows everything right now on the click of a phone. So how you shape up yourself will, you will then only prove me right if you get the fundas right, okay?
Thank you so much, sir.
Very beautifully expressed, Nitin.
Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. My name is Shreyansh. I'm from semester 4. I have a question. What do you think are the prime qualities to become a successful fashion designer?
So, hi Shreyansh.
Hello.
Again, Shreyansh, right? Did I get your name right?
Shreyansh.
Shreyansh.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I feel that to have a successful label, yes, because you are a designer, product is king. You need to be creative, and you need to have the right product in your hand. But having said that, product and creativity are just the starting point of the fashion business. You need to have a very wholesome, rounded personality when it comes to business. You need to have good leadership skills. You need to have a good business sense. You need to be an entrepreneur to have a successful fashion label. Just creativity is not going to get you there. I mean, I've seen in my 16 years it's been since I graduated from NIFT, and I've seen creative geniuses not go anywhere because the other parts were missing. Yeah, it is important to be creative, but yes, you have to have other aspects to your personality that you need to nurture in order to have a successful business.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Anushri from semester 4, and my question is, how do I as a student can improve my design or creative process?
Okay. Aditi.
Anushri.
Anushri.
Anushri, yes, I think you are in an interesting phase right now, semester 4. Huh? 2 years, almost 2 years old in design. This much. That's good. I'm this much. So you'll also grow up. So it's a great and very exciting phase for you. And yes, these are the questions that you need to be asking yourself right now. How do I better myself? Because like, if I research on something, I click on something, and whatever research comes to me, the person sitting next to me can do that also, just sitting right there. So where is the edge? We all say, oh, the world is so easy now. So, everything is, that everything is this. अब तो world इतना easy हो गया है, communicate करना easy हो गया है, ये करना easy हो गया है. I tell you what, नहीं. Don't be in that bubble. Nothing is easy. Like in terms of, you use Paytm? I'll give you the example. So a comedian, he made a joke on this, he says, सिर्फ पैसा transfer करना आसान हुआ है, पैसा कमाना अभी भी उतना ही मुश्किल है. So designers, like if you want to also be part of that dream that I just shared with her, you need to really wake up because this opportunity is limited. Your time in this college is limited, these 4 years, because then the world will come, the society will come, challenges and certain things. Right now you're innocent. Abhi innocence phase hai life ka, even for postgraduate students. The world, the expectations of life, family, friends, all of that, judgments, they will come. They're slowly watching you. And as you graduate and move on forward, they will come. So right now, the stronger you develop your core, the core is your the foundations that are being taught to you. How can you explore yourself? How strongly can you explore yourself over here? Like I always tell, students, I can tell a portfolio from the first page. I look at the font and I know which way the folio will go. It's my years of experience. Your font, the font you have chosen to tell your first project and the font of the description that you've written says everything. The way and where you've placed that font on that page says everything. That one page of one sheet is you. Hello, that's me. It's like your face, you just popping out there in front of the world. There is Behance. There are like a zillion portfolios there. And you're asking me, how do I stand out? Yes?
Yes, sir.
So you start standing out from that first page. And first pages are always about your inspirations. So, I'm really disappointed in this country with the design fraternity because we are sort of really lacking in graphic design. Our graphic design has gone to the dogs. I haven't seen one good graphic design from a designer for years because we just go on Pinterest, we choose crazy images which have been designed by somebody. Somebody must have spent hours thinking and designing, and we find that cool image. And then we take it and we put it, this is my mood board, and I put 4 or 5 other images. So, what? That's where you lose it, I think. So you need to make sure that you develop your graphic design. That's your first thing. The first touch point is graphic design. If you have certain images, how do you put them together in a way that whatever is going in your mind, you are able to express that? Because, that's the easiest thing. Expressing that on garment, you know how cryptic the language is. Can you tell me what is the inspiration behind this shirt? No, until I don't tell you, right? You won't know why the pocket is in this way and what's the story behind it. But if I just show you a page and it has an image, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is what is more important. So when you design your mood board, when you design your direction board, that should be your soul. It should come out from a very honest space. Even if you're not good at sketching, no, but then sketch. If you're not good at putting things together, do that. If you can't make a good montage, make it. If you don't make mistakes now, how will you make them later? So work on your graphic design. That's very, very important. Never choose an image from anywhere. ये सुपर कंप्यूटर हाथ में है, इसको यूज़ करने का है, ये सब कुछ देगा। और कोई इमेज अच्छी लग रही है ना, उसको क्लिक करो और उसको फोटोशॉप पे ले जाके इतना घुमाओ कि वो इमेज ही ना लगे, कि वो लगे कि हाँ, तुमको लगे कि मैंने उसको इतना ब्रेक, you know, that's what I was talking, the best
you're
era of
sharing
fashion.
that, yes.
Yes.
How
Yes.
the process of how to work on your inspiration. You go on to click pictures on your own.
Yes.
And then you work on them and then improvise on them.
Absolutely. So like, don't ever think कि ये image बहुत simple लग रही है, and then you see एक Instagram में इतना amazing graphic, you will just drop your image. So the day you drop your image, that originality, your pure voice stops. You know, you get diluted. So if this has to be full of your work. You have already put 10 ml of something else here, and then that will just keep on happening. Okay, so please, I can't stress on this more, that start with your graphic design, and when you do your first research and make your first boards, they should be completely original. I'm telling you, when somebody will look at your portfolio, he'll be like, I want to see this folio, I want to go on. Okay, so that's one thing I can definitely tell you. Others, obviously, you know, whatever your faculties are telling you, you need to really go deeper into it. Try to find out things. If you like draping at this stage, and if you think that you are getting a knack towards it, you need to really go really deep into it. Like, you know, if you go to CSM, one of the best colleges in the world, you go with your graduation portfolio, they will not give you a master's ever. They will say, we'll give you admission in an undergraduate course again, because they don't see enough depth in a certain idea. So when you take an idea, you really, really, really need to go deeper into it. That's one thing I'm telling you. And secondly, if I may say that,
Please go ahead.
when you look at portfolios, you know, see, suppose you apply for a job at my studio, okay? So I have people, and I'm in the market. I am making crazy stuff also. I'm making commercial stuff, whatever. I'm balancing my act together, okay? So now when I see a new, I want some newness, so I'm looking to hire somebody, and I see a portfolio which is very usual looking, very safe, wahi wo white pants, wo shirt, or, you know, like whatever you see the brands doing right now. You might have done your interpretation with some print or anything. But when I look at that, I say, you know what? I already have people who are doing this. I don't expect you to have a commercial portfolio. That is my job to teach you. I need to see how you think. Have you in your 4 years thought something which nobody has thought till now? And if you have, or if you have a tendency to think like that, how well have you been able to translate it? तो सबके फोलियो शुरू होते हैं बहुत क्रेजी काम के साथ, लेकिन जब by the end it comes down to choosing the silhouettes, the sketches and making it, it is so simple that you have made eventually, you know. So please don't do that. You need to make very crazy, just अभी तुमको कुछ जो भी बना रहे हो, you don't have to sell it, right? So the point of playing it safe right now doesn't arise. Why? Ever. Don't ever do that. Never play safe in a college. Break the rules. Create things that you think you will challenge yourself. How the hell I'm going to make it? And that's where the third question comes. How will you become great? Is by knowing what goes behind making a garment. That's where you will really lack. क्योंकि by the end अगर construction नहीं आता होगा, तो फिर तुम एक simple चीज़ बनाओगे. If you don't know how to put 50 panels together, you will not design a shirt with 50 panels. Right? So you will stay away. So right now you need to push those boundaries and try to, बेशक वो गलत बन जाए, खराब बन जाए, doesn't matter. But this is where you will get to try and do those things. So don't shy away from difficult things or things that are beyond you right now. This is the time to just push yourself and make it like that. Okay? So know the art of making clothes. That's most important.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Diti and I am currently in semester 4. My question to you is, what according to you could be the technique to come up with interesting ideas as an inspiration?
I think the easiest thing to come up with ideas is also, as I said, you are consuming what do you call content. So you need to define what does, I'll just break it down to you. What does it mean to consume content? Can anybody explain to me? Anybody? What does consuming content mean? Okay. So this term has been coined now for the social media, but it does not limit only to social media. The content that you consume is the film that you watch, is the book that you read, is the magazine that you flip, is the podcast that you hear, is the pages you follow on social media, is the the musicians that you're crazy about and their lifestyle, or it's about spending time in your free time, what you do, your hobbies, or what are your things around. So that's the amount of content. If you are thinking that this is not balanced, and if you're consuming a particular kind of content, you need to analyze what is it getting you. So the more you understand that, and if you really think and analyze that, yes, if a particular kind of content is giving you a certain amount of inspiration, you need to understand what kind of inspiration it's bringing onto the table. Is it bringing me a tangible inspiration, or is it bringing me an intangible inspiration? So you could end up consuming so much of intangible inspiration, like, oh, I am crazy about this series. वो आपने series के चारों season देख लिए, right? Or this book, you spent 2 months reading it. But have you also been collecting information about how to express it? So you need to consume enough content, go to your library. If it's based in a certain era, are you looking at architecture or like buildings of that era? Are you looking at other things that are mentioned maybe in that book of that era? Is it about, you're reading about clouds, and are you looking at the details of clouds? What are the artists who are popular in painting clouds? Are there sculpture artists who are making clouds? So then you start consuming that content again, So then you are balancing out your tangible and intangible sort of inspiration that's coming through. Then you can put those things together, and it becomes easier for you to express, okay? So when you consume content, make sure that you devise that everything I need to consume, everything bit by bit, and slowly I'll get to know which way I like to consume content.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. Hi, ma'am. My name is Priyanandaran, and I am from semester 6. My question to you is, what are some qualities that you look for when you are hiring interns?
When you're hiring interns.
When we are hiring interns.
Yes.
So I think the design part.
Okay, it's a two-part. She will also answer. So, I'll just give you an example. When I was in college in NIFT, the class was divided into two. Some of the kids, which were always less, 5, 7 of them, 8 of them, we used to brand them as geeks. ये geeks है. अगर 50 textures मांगे हैं, तो ये 50 के 50 बना के लाएंगे, और 50 के 50 माउंट करके भी लाएंगे, और टाइम से लाएंगे. पूरी क्लास बंक कर रही है, ये आएंगे. And there are some, they say that, like, I was the kind, like, मैं 50 तो नहीं बनाऊंगा, but मैं original बनाऊंगा, और मैं थोड़े बनाऊंगा और वो लेके आऊंगा, But nobody shared this perspective with me that time. But I realized it when I started hiring. Okay, when I realized that, trust is the biggest factor in any relationship. And if I trust somebody in my team that, okay, you're going to stand at square leg, and when the ball comes to you, you're going to throw it back or catch it. So I trust you. So if you are part of a team, trust is the most important factor. Obviously, I look at an interesting portfolio. I explained earlier, I'm looking at somebody who's thinking out of the box. I want to see somebody who's applied themselves, and their inspirations are more unique than usual, or they are part of their personal experiences. Then the story becomes even real. And then I want to see their ability to translate it. How to design, because we are designers by the end of the day. Some folios have so much of written text. You know, I get lost that yes, you are putting all of that in, but I know by the end you are not translating all of that into the language of design. So you are not in the language of literature. Okay, so it's very, very important how you've been able to translate that unique idea into reality, and how many risks have you taken. You know, like that's something which is really, really important to me. And I think font is something very, very essential. As I said, graphic design, I really look at a student's graphic design because I am seeing a digital folio in front of me, okay? So it's very, very important for me to see. It always also is interesting to see the extracurricular activities, because like, you know, she sings, I play. At times, like, you know, you develop great camaraderie and great relationship. And some of our interns have gone to win Woolmark, or, you know, they have made successful labels. And, you know, over the years, more than 200, 300, or even more students have been a part of a studio. But we are not, you know, in touch with all of them. There are some that have become friends for life. So your other curricular activities or interests is also, which I'm essentially also trying to look at, that how we can form a bond with a person.
And because we always, whenever we are hiring an intern, it's not an individual decision. It's not just Nitin deciding whether we should get the person on board. What I'm looking for in an intern while I'm hiring them is how disciplined they are and how well organized they are, because these two skills are very important for me. I mean, you need to be on time, you need to be disciplined, and you need to be sorted in your head. You can't be all over the place.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
So I think it seems we are running out of time, so we'll have one more question. Last.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Suti ma'am. Hello, Nitin sir. I am Sakshi Kumari from semester 6. And my question from you is, if I am an aspiring fashion entrepreneur, what are some key points I should keep in my checklist?
Like I already answered Shreyansh's question, I think it's an overlapping question, and my answer would be the same, that you need to hone other skills as well. Creativity and design is very important, but to be an entrepreneur, you need to have a very sharp business acumen. You need to be a team leader. Bhaiya, thoda dheere boliye, please. You need to be a good team leader. You need to be sharp in terms of business. And yeah, creativity is at the center of it.
I think what she would like to add also is that know how to form a company, how to form a proprietorship, or what it takes to form a company, what are the legal things that you require, know the taxation system, what is a GST, how you're supposed to file it, know what your accountant is going to do, what is the essential bare minimum team to run a business, because everything, it has to be legal, so how to have a proper legal business, all the other sides that you will require to establish a label, run a label, how to make an invoice. All of those things are, I think, also essential before you jump into it. Learn a bit about ROI, return on money. That's very important.
Accounts. Very important.
Accounting is very, very important for you to understand before you jump in money. A lot of times parents help us, you know, their hard-earned money. Everybody doesn't come from a business, deep-pocketed family, so your resources are limited. What that means is, to simply put it, it's not just that the resources are limited, your chances are limited. So if you want to succeed on that one or two chance that you have, be very well prepared. Whatever you want to do, you want to open an export house, or you want to open your own fashion label, go and identify who is the designer that like you would like to have that kind of style, or you like to work in that form of business. And then go there and learn. And when you are learning, try to also learn apart from your work. Be there to take more responsibility. Finish your work early. Try to finish. Put in more hours. Because you'll always have a plan that 5 years hence I'm going to start my label. So I need to know, like, will I be a studio sort of a unit, or will I be a production unit? That means a fashion designer can have a sampling unit and a studio and and get everything outsourced. That's one way. Like all big labels in the world, Christian Dior works like that. Their production doesn't happen at their factory there. They work with the best factories across the world. So they are design studios, but they have a crazy team of sampling when you sample the product development. And then there are factories, there are designers that work like a factory where everything is done in-house. Right, from your design to your sampling, prototyping, and then when you get an order, your entire order is manufactured within your own unit. Even dyeing, printing, everything you have tried to get within yourself. So when you work with a factory, you will, with a designer or an export house, you'll know how many kind of vendors you have to make your network with. Tomorrow you want to work with digital printing. Working with a designer, you will get to know 5 different kind of digital printers. What are the challenges you face, right? Similarly, if you want to do dyeing, you want to do bugaroo, you want to do, India is full of crafts, So whatever really gets you going, go and work in that space, try to contribute heavily. And when you leave that studio, always leave on an excellent term with the employer, because they have already given you a chance and a chance to learn and form a relation. India is a small industry. You will meet them again. You don't know when. They can help you, or you can be of their help or of a help to them. So maintain a very good relation when you join and leave a company. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, sir.
Nitin, I think you've given a set of valuable advices to our students. I hope they retain this wisdom with them when they are working on their own design processes. And also, I think about professionalism, about maintaining good relationships, about being disciplined and diligent. Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you, Stuti. It was amazing to hear from you.
It was a total pleasure to be here and talk to all of you here. Thank you very much, and hope to see you guys soon.
May I now invite our CSE, Dr. Satyendra Kumar Mishra, for a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of NIF Patna, I deem it a great honor and privilege to be the one extending the vote of thanks for today's homecoming session. First and foremost, on behalf of entire fraternity of this institution, I extend my most sincere thanks to our illustrious alumni, Nitil Bal Chauhan and Stuti Sood Chauhan, for sparing their valuable time and sharing their remarkable experiences. Nitin and Stuti, indeed, your words have inspired us all. Thank you for being with us. I would like to mention my deep sense of gratitude to our Director General, Ms. Tanu Kashyap, IAS, for her unstinted support, vision and commitment. Thank you, ma'am. My heartfelt thanks to our Dean Academics, Professor Dr. Sudha Dhingra, for conceptualizing homecoming sessions to strengthen the alumni connect and making them feel as an inseparable part of their alma mater. Special thanks to all the guests who are there with us, Ms. Anubha Prasad, General Manager, SIDBI Patna. Dr. Hanif was also there, Director KVIC Patna, for their gracious presence. Thanking Professor Jayati Mukherjee, Chairperson, Department of Fashion and Lifestyle Accessories from NIFT Kolkata, joining us for the session. I would like to thank our Director, Sir, Colonel Rahul Sharma, for his deep involvement and meticulous planning, as always, incessantly pushing us for seamless execution of this event. Thank you, sir. Thanking all the faculty members, officers, staff involved for shaping the homecoming session. I would like to thank our student volunteers for their enthusiasm and devotion. Thanking our media partners for their commitment and wonderful support. Last but not the least, we would like to thank each one of you who are watching us through live streaming, attended this homecoming session to make it memorable. Thank you all once again for being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Director Sir to please step up on the dais.
Dear all, we had originally not planned that I would have an address at the end, but when we went through the entire homecoming session, there are a number of points that I've jotted down, and I'm here on stage out of pure excitement and pure admiration for the couple. First, I would like to say, it's a dream come true to have both of you here, Nitin and Stuti. I met Nitin very recently at Yashobhoomi during Bharat Techs, but instantly I felt a connection. And after this session today, I have realized that both of them have a talent to connect with everyone at some level or the other. So I really admire that facet of personality that they have. I'm sure whoever they meet, wherever they meet, they develop and have those deep connections. It's so amazing. Both of them embody what NIFT stands for. So the words that we have noted down today, some things which stand out. We have been speaking of innovation. We've been speaking of inspiration, creation, love, hate, crazy, edgy, bold, and the future. This is what NIFT is all about. And these are the keywords I picked up today. So both of them, I think the entire NIFT fraternity, all of us are so proud of them. Okay, my next point. Both of you complement each other absolutely perfectly. Both of you seem to be one single person. If one is a purist, the other has that business acumen. A wonderful combination, a very successful combination, and we wish you all the very best for your future. And at the very end, I want to say you have left us very enriched today. We all have picked up important aspects which both of you have brought out. I think you've enriched all of us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again to Nitin and Stuti for gracing us with your presence and sharing your invaluable expertise. Your journey is truly inspiring to all us aspiring designers. And to everyone present here and the ones who tuned in online, we hope you enjoyed episode 3 of the NIFT's Homecoming series just as much as we did. Thank you so much for having been such a lovely audience.